It was a little over 7 years ago when we stood on the front steps of City Hall with a message of concern. A concern that now resonates throughout the entire firefighting profession. That message being that there are far too many of us dying from cancer. Once again, we lined the steps of City Hall with empty boots to remember the firefighters that lost their lives to this insidious disease. Today we are part of a national campaign, Give Toxics the Boot, that extends from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. on this morning. A day of cancer awareness not only for firefighters, but for every citizen of this country that suffers from this disease due to toxic chemical exposures. The core of our foundation's mission statement has been the prevention and early detection of cancer in both our active and retired firefighters. And we have been successful in identifying early stage cancers in both groups. But we now have to change our point of view and place a greater emphasis on ways to prevent this escalating rates of cancer in our profession. And in order to accomplish that, we have to consider the root of the problem. And the root of that problem exists in a multi-billion-dollar corporation here in the United States called the chemical industry. For many years, there have been senators in Washington, D.C. trying to get meaningful legislation passed to ensure that the safety of the chemicals used in household products and manufacturing are under control. And in 2012, we had our best shot with the Safe Chemicals Act, an act that simply stated that manufacturers would have to prove that a chemical is safe before it can be sold. It made it as far as the Senate floor, and that was the end of it. A couple more bills have been introduced, the latest one being considered is called the Chemicals and Commerce Act. This bill would do nothing whatsoever to protect firefighters and the public from the health impacts of toxic chemicals, and in fact, it would roll back the very limited oversight that is currently in place. We are also up against a multi-million-dollar chemical lobby in Washington, D.C. that continues to pull the strings to keep the status quo. Our message to them is this: we're sick and we're damn tired of being your canaries set into the cave every time we fight a fire. We're sick and tired of seeing the men and women of this profession continue to contract and succumb to this insidious disease. And our concern is not only with firefighters, but for all American citizens that suffer from this disease due to toxic chemical exposures. The time has come to send a clear message to Washington, demanding that meaningful legislation to protect all of us from the effects of toxic chemical exposures in our everyday lives. Thank you very much.